on, like, bro.
No, don't be nervous. I don't, I mean, it's your floor, man. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I know, certain things are off limits, so that's fine. No big deal. I'll probably, give you, like, a little background, give a background by yourself, tell them whatever you want. Tell them, 26, living in, for those people that are listening, living in a fucking beautiful apartment, 14 floors up in San Francisco, so that, obviously doesn't happen overnight, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it takes some time. About a year and a half approximately for me.
Damn, only some would be like only a year and a half. So like you think about it, growing up, it's always wild, right? Apartments were never set up like this. Being from around Flint, Michigan, and around Pontiac, Michigan, apartments were like, damn, they're fucking struggling. They're in that apartment, right? And so, but here, apartments are great, man. They make them so fancy. Like, they make this shit nice.
Yeah, I feel like they have to just because of the sheer number of people. And, I don't know. As long as you have a view, like, I feel like I like an apartment. I have high standards, though. When I was apartment shopping, it turns out, like, 99% of apartments will not do it for me. Like,
really?
Yeah. I have to have, like, the floor-to-ceiling windows and, like, a good view and, like, modern textiles and like good flooring, hardwood floors.
Yeah,
that's a must. But like a lot of apartments, like it just varies. You just don't know. Yeah,
I get it. I mean, see, like my place in Oakland, I'm too Midwestern for it. I didn't even know. I didn't even think I was a Midwestern because in the Midwest, for the lack of better terms, I'm kind of an asshole. And like, not in a bad way. It's just like everyone in the Midwest is really, friendly. How's it going? Good morning. And I'm just like, leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? And when we first got into Oakland, I was moving in the apartment. I had noticed the blinds open, like right next to me. That my place is kind of cornered, so you can like see it. Like you don't have to try to see their window; you can see it. So I leaned over and like wanted to see if anyone's in there to like give a quick little wave and be like, "Yo, we're neighbors, right?" And like next thing I know, I leaned over to wave, and I see the blind shut. And I get a phone call 5 minutes later from my people downstairs saying, "Hey, you can't be looking in other people's places." I'm like, "Yo, I don't give a shit enough about your life to like look inside your place." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just trying to say hello. Like, thought that was the easiest way. But I guess living to learn, man. People are real shut out here. Did you notice that when you first moved here? Like I feel like people are very accepting, but unless they know you or you meet them through someone, you're not going to get to talk to them.
I think I've actually, coming from Seattle, I've had the inverse effect.
Really?
Because, like, there's, like, this thing known as, like, the Seattle Freeze. And that's where, apparently, so I hear, my folks are much more, like, you're already part of a friend group, or you're not.
Yeah.
And, like, when you meet someone and you say hi, they could be friends, and you have shared interests, and then you're like, let's hang out sometime, and then there's a text or two, and then nothing happens. That's, like, how it normally goes. Like, that is, like, the way, that's, like, how you wave in Seattle, apparently. I don't know. But, like, so coming down here, I was actually shocked when I moved into this building, and, like, people spoke to me in the elevator. Like, they were like, "Hey, how's it going?" They saw me carrying a box, like, "You just move in?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why are you asking? Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But they were kind and, like, not threatening, so I just kind of went with it, so.
People in Seattle, it's all dark and gloomy. Everyone's like, "You want me to stab you right now?" Like,
it's not so bad. I like to think is I love Seattle, and I think that like if you're the type of person that can be in that situation, acknowledge there's another human that lives with you that looks like the person who looks like next to you, and you kind of that's your interaction, and then you're just kind of like, that's it, and then you're happy.
Dude, Seattle's such a underrated spot in my opinion. That's just because, like I said, man, it's just because it rains there a fuck ton, and so like you only have really 2 months to go. Or else the rest of the time you're there, you're going to think it's kind of like, oh, what the fuck, it just rains here all the time. But let me tell you, my favorite ballpark, Marriott Stadium, super clean. It's a beautiful ballpark. First ever football game I went to was Seattle Seahawks, huge fan. Marshawn Lynch, my favorite football player growing up. I have every jersey from every team he's been in. Yeah, dude, it's
like a Seattle boy at heart.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have folks that live in Spanaway. So
no way.
Seattle, yeah.
That's crazy. I have friends that live in Spanaway. I actually grew up south of Seattle, not in Seattle proper. So I was in a town called Puyallup, which is like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, I know Puyallup. Known for the fair.
Yeah, the Puyallup Fair. Yeah, exactly. like now the Washington State Fair, they commandeered it from the local Puyallup city so that they could make more money. But whatever.
So what was your high school like?
Puyallup High School. For me, I spent 1 year there, and then I didn't drop out of high school, but I did like what's called Running Start. So you go to a community college and take like classes that are the mere same as your high school classes, and then you just do that. Most kids who did this, they took all of like the required classes to get like their AA or AS or something while in high school, so they could be like ahead of the game, and then transfer all those to university and be like farther up in school than everyone else. I did the exact opposite. So I took the college classes, which came at a faster pace, but I only took what was required at my high school, plus a lot of things I was interested in. So I kind of had like a mellow high school experience.
For sure.
At a community college, like responsibility. Like I didn't have like a cafeteria or anything. I like went out to get food. I looked more like an adult at a younger age.
That's huge, man. Do you think it forced you to grow up more sooner though, or do you think it just like allowed you to have more freedom to be, more who you are, like experience who you are as a person?
That's a good question. I
high
think
school
it's definitely a little bit of both. The big thing was that I was being thrown into a group of people that was like much bigger and much more varied. So I feel like I had a lot of growing up in that respect. Is like, how do I communicate with someone I don't have shared experiences with and isn't like 16 like me? Like, how do I get an adult to be my friend and participate with me in this class and like do stuff like that?
Right. Yeah, because participation is huge, and then I get that. It's hard when you haven't developed that maturity.
Exactly.
And you're trying to be mature.
Because we'd have group tests or something, and so I need to become friends with the people in the class, and like I need to participate with them and learn how to interact with them. And they're not me; they're different. Yeah. And like that was. I'm glad that I did that for that reason.
Oh, it's a great experience. They got more of their shit figured out, kind of. Like college. I'm not saying college kids have their shit figured out. Trust me, that's not the case. But especially, I'm assuming it was a community college, right?
Yeah, community college.
So a lot of community college is a mixture of people that either don't know what they're doing but know enough that they want to go there, or are older people relearning stuff. Because that's what I experienced when I did. We weren't allowed to do like that and only take the required classes, but we were allowed to co-op, and our high schools would pay for us to take 1 or 2 college classes if we were there in our high school career, if you had kind of did your due diligence in a sense. I remember, it was hard. My first one, I did it after a 6-hour day or whatever at the high school. Wow. I had to go to a 3-hour class every Thursday. And I was so tired, man. You're a high schooler, they got you up at 6 a.m. for stupid fucking reason. Like, first off, there's been so many studies that say you shouldn't get up early for like that.
High school kids need to get their fucking sleep. That just needs to be said. Everyone needs to acknowledge that. Why is it still a thing in society?
It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. But I remember this one time I cut out this eye-shaped pieces of paper and drew like what looked to be eyeballs, at least in my mind, on my on them. And then put them in each one of the lenses of my glasses. So I sat in the back of the class so I could sleep. And it didn't work because I draw terribly, absolutely terribly. I got pulled aside after class. It was like, hey, that wasn't very funny. People were laughing. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like,
it was funny. People were laughing.
Yeah. You idiot. What do you mean it wasn't funny? You heard the ha-has. Yeah, man, but I wasn't mature enough to be there, and the class itself wasn't hard though, and so that brings me to another point. You didn't graduate college, right? Did you graduate college? How'd that work out? Because I know there's I remember you explained it to me a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a complicated situation. So I do have a 2-year degree. Okay. That I earned, and then I did drop out of my undergrad. Okay. And what was your undergrad? Physics. Okay. At Western Washington University. I dropped out of that too. I dropped out my senior year, and it was actually really hard to do. Even actually leaving to do an internship at a company in an unrelated field was hard. I originally declined, actually, and then called back a few days later after talking to some adults that it would have been stupid if I didn't do it, that I did it. Well, it's, but that's not bad. I mean, you're in a great situation. You're doing great financially. You're doing great for yourself as a person. And I think
one of the important things I like to talk about, even as someone else who has a bachelor's degree, college shouldn't be a necessary benchmark for jobs. It just shouldn't be, in my opinion. I talked to my old man about it when I talked to him the other day, and I was just like, he's a very smart person. He didn't go to college at all. No college degree, nothing. And now, with the way COVID is, he's going to have to relook for jobs, and his salary is going to get cut because he doesn't reach that benchmark of having a degree. And a degree is bullshit, man. It just shows that you can learn. That's all it shows. I use 20% of what I learned in college, maybe. Like, it doesn't provide you, it doesn't show you anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like practice work in a way where I feel like college has really just become that, where it's like, it's a very, very expensive place where you put your kid and you put them through trials, and it may be related to some academic field, or it may not even be that related to some academic field. And they just have to like do a bunch of busy work and then sometimes demonstrate learning. But I don't think it's necessarily the greatest place for learning. I mean, you look at even in the natural sciences, most of the professors at colleges do not primarily see themselves as educators. They see themselves as researchers. So I don't think that it's actually like this haven of magical education that is just perfect. Like, I don't think that that's true. I do think that it can be true. There could be some like microclimates of where there's like a few teachers here, professors that are super involved in education and like research around that, and then know how to like educate people. But I don't think it's necessarily the best place to learn things.
It's so fucking expensive too.
And so maybe it's just so expensive. Yeah, and like maybe there's ways we can make it cheaper. Maybe there's ways that it can be more distributed, like videos, YouTube. I learned how to program on YouTube.
YouTube U should be a thing. YouTube University
Seriously.
should for sure be a thing. You can learn so much. I learned for the website, for Man Meets Modern, I learned to code through YouTube videos.
Yeah, let's go. Let's just enumerate all the things YouTube gave us and how they're better than what our university gave us. That needs to be talked about.
Coding. Dude,
yes.
There was kids I know taking calculus. You want to know where they went? They didn't go to their professor to help them learn. Fucking YouTube.
Yeah, solved. Coding's one of them.
Coding. Math.
Yes, YouTube. Absolutely.
I was in a fraternity. Frats. No, fucking learned the Greek alphabet and all that other shit. YouTube. Didn't learn it anywhere else. Didn't learn it from doing frat shit. YouTube. Sales pitch. YouTube. I would listen to like top sellers off of YouTube.
There we go. Yeah, the soft skills. You don't even take a class. You can't take a class on how to be a good salesman, because oftentimes, if you did take that at university, the professor would be someone who likes researching sales, not someone who's actually a good salesman.
No, exactly. Relaxation. I took that as a class. Stupidest fucking class. First off, class called relaxation starts at 8 a.m. I'm not relaxed at 8 a.m. What are you talking about, man? I just fucking got up. It's Friday. It's on a Friday, too. I got up from a bender I had last night. I'm hungover. Last thing I want to go is get my ass up and go to this relaxation class. And all I do when I get there, he just goes, we're going to meditate for 30 minutes. You want to know what I did? I fucking slept. You had to shake me awake. I needed credits, man. Like, that's bullshit, too. They make you do bullshit like that. Take bullshit classes that just don't matter to what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or they're just not even particular representations of other things you can get online. For me, also, learning instruments, music. I did all of that on my own outside of school. Like, I did band in 5th grade. I picked up a saxophone, a flute. I didn't feel like I could really learn the instruments, and I feel like that's because, like, the instructor would not be able to give individual time to, like, actually teach students effectively. One-on-one tutoring is still the most effective way to teach someone something. And I think sometimes YouTube is a better mirror of that than a lecture, because you have so distributed. You have all these different videos and all these different topics and so much variety that the best can just bubble up, and there it is.
100%. I totally agree. I learned, I have a piano board, and I started learning how to play the piano through an app called Simply Piano. By the way, great app. It walks you through it. It detects what keys you're pressing. It was like $100 for a year, and you can spend $100 a month on piano lessons.
Oh, easy.
But the beautiful part about a lot of that YouTube stuff is that a lot of people, I've come to find, aren't on YouTube and posting videos to make money. Like, subscribers and shit.
Oh, that's
trust me. But I think people are there because they genuinely feel like they're providing a service to people and want to like help people get to where they are. You know what I mean? Provide them the knowledge that they've gained.
I like that takeaway because, like, I think a lot of people like to focus on YouTube as a platform, and they look at those higher subscriber count, like, channels. And then there's people who will serially watch YouTube, like, just pound through videos for pure entertainment purposes. But those who are using it for utility, like, I swear to God, I've seen videos that were exactly what I needed, and when I clicked on it, it had 3,000 views. And it was the perfect fucking video to solve whatever problem I fucking had.
Yeah.
And, like, that's amazing about the platform, is that, like, other group of people that, like, I don't think they're necessarily represented when people talk about it as a platform, but they're the best.
And that dude, 3,000, I bet you was just stoked to have 3,000.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, 3,000 people listen to me.
Exactly. Some esoteric video on how to, like, install this arbitrary part on this, like, 2018 Subaru Crosstrek that no one owns. like stuff like that. Like, I watched a YouTube video literally this week about how to mount a TV frame to steel studs. Or just metal studs, and no one knows this except for this guy. He puts out his video, and he's like, "Hey, you just need to use like the same thing you'd use for sheetrock, and it'll pull into the back of the steel stud because it's hollow and like whatever esoteric knowledge is required." But it was the fucking perfect information. And then today, I was trying to talk to people at hardware stores around me to get the parts, and I suggested them this idea. None of them had heard of it, but they were like, "That is genius. Where did you get this idea?" Fucking YouTube. Fucking YouTube.
It's so funny, dude. Yeah, it's insane. 3,000 people watched it for a car that has 2,500 people that actually drive it or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, people just watching it. But yeah, dude, you're right, and it's insane what you can learn. I learned a lot of what I know actually about physics. I learned from YouTube.
There we go.
I'm a huge fan of quantum physics. I think that shit's so fascinating because when you talk about quantum physics, right, it's like if we were ever going to be able to walk through walls or like teleport or some shit, like that's where it'd be discovered, right? It's about atoms doing abnormal things than actual physics. And learned all that from watching, I forget his name, it's like Mikio, it's like number one physicist in the world, just has documentaries out there about quantum physics. Just fucking watch it, dude. Just like learn and like I walk and then I go talk to some people and feel smart for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
then they ask me
go.
a serious question. I'm like,
yeah. I used to love those back in like the early 2010s when a bunch of articles would come out about like how we can transmit information faster than the speed of light using like photon coupling, and I'm just like, all my family gets super excited on these articles, and I'm just like, what is this? Everyone fucking loves quantum physics. This is amazing. Like, you're right. It's the weirdest shit happens in quantum physics. Absolute weirdest shit.
Well, back to the education thing. I feel like education drains the fun out of what you're learning almost, because
that's so true.
A lot of people, you know, going into college, there's a reason why there's very few physicists in the world. Because no one fucking thinks it's fun. Like, you know what I mean? No one's like, I learned to do all this in my class for physics and was like, that was the most fun I had. Because, you know, they don't make it fun. But you throw these videos out there and it's like, hey, you know, what you're learning, these math formulas help you understand why this atom was able to phase through this wall. That shit now becomes cool. Now it's like, oh, fuck, I understand that. And that's huge, man. I think you should not be a professor or a teacher if you don't want to learn to reach your students in a quality way. I had maybe only, out of all the college classes, so 122 credits. Each class is what, 3 credits? So, fuck, I don't know how many classes that works to be, but at least 30 plus classes I took in college. I had maybe 5 professors I actually enjoyed. Actually were like, I want to come to your class today because I like what you have to offer, and it means something to me. And a lot of those professors I found were in the bullshit classes, were like the bullshit classes they make you take because they want you to reach 122 credits, right? But a lot of those professors those are the people that are really passionate about it, I found.
Yeah.
One of my favorite classes was Earth Hazards and Disasters. I literally went in there and this dude just talked about what it would take to, like, for an asteroid to destroy the planet. And like he
loved that shit. Oh yeah, that is good content. Then you know that's good content. Yeah, and these people are proud of what they're educating people on. They're happy to get other people involved and like excited. Cannot say the same when you get towards like the the like really involved, more hardcore sciences, like that person is there because they want to excel the science field as much as they can, not necessarily disseminate information from that field to people very well. Like they see themselves as researchers. They write grants. They do research. They go to classes because it's part of like this academic like, you know, triple threat. But most of the time they just care about research.
Yeah, and they're not trying to reach their students. They're in it for themselves, right? And I guess to be a teacher, I don't think you should be in it for yourself. I know my favorite science teacher growing up, you know what it was? It was fucking Bill Nye the Science Guy. You know what every kid gets excited to watch when they're in elementary and middle school about science?
Shout out to Bill Nye.
Shout out to Bill Nye. But it's Bill. Why? Because he makes it interesting. He makes it fun for kids. He makes it so like you understand it. Like, oh, that's why that works. And it's not like on a sheet of paper and just like, this is why. You know what I mean? Just some bullshit ass explanation.
Yeah. All this being said, I'd have to say my favorite childhood scientist that reached me through a TV, which was through YouTube. Again, shout out to YouTube. Carl Sagan for sure, absolutely, hands down, Carl Sagan.
Shout out Carl.
Yeah, he's able to like inspire the intellectual curiosity, wants to like really dig it into like more dense topics. Excellent way to learn things. I do have to say there have been a few professors I've had that have gone the extra mile to like really care about education and care about how they educate people. So everything I've said thus far is qualified with the fact that it applies to some group of people, but not all of them. There's still a lot of really good, passionate researchers, even in the natural sciences, that are like super duper involved in their learning. But yeah, it's not.
Don't discourage education or college. I think is a very important thing that people should go through. Just for the fact that college, man, you are around so many different people that are your age, and you'll never be in another area like that again in your life where you have to interact with other people your age. But like, you know, I went to Western Michigan, right? 20,000, 25,000 kids. I'm forced to interact with a lot of those kids in my classes and stuff. And that challenges the way you think, right? And it challenges the fact that, you know, I grew up this way, but this person has this view because they grew up that way, and yet we're still at the same point in life. And I think that's what makes it a very special experience. There's no reason that experience should cost $130,000 for 4 years, 5 years.
Maybe not. Like, schools right now, they're billion-dollar enterprises.
Yeah,
they're companies, they're enterprises.
Yeah, they're
the same thing, just under a different name.
Yeah. Why does my dean make over $1 million a year?
Absolutely.
And like, I get his job's probably hard, but like, it ain't fucking $1 million hard. Like, you're in it to be an educator first, in my opinion, right? And everyone wants to make millions of dollars. Who doesn't? It's a great, time, but at a certain point, when are you sacrificing your passion and taking away from your passion and the meaning you have behind your passion for money? And that's what I think happens, right? I think, if you're a dean making $5 million a year, you're not in it so your kids are becoming educated and you're bringing more educated individuals into the world and more well-rounded people into the world. You're there because you make a lot of money,
Yeah.
Or you would be reinvesting at least half of that back into your college. And like, at a certain point, you can't forget that passion. I think that's a problem. I think it's a problem. They show you statistics. Textbooks have increased by 300%. The cost of paper hasn't increased by 300%. I can tell you that. There are over double the amount of professors and employees on college campuses than there were like 30 years ago. Yet there are not double the amount of classes on college campuses. And each salary of professors and teachers professors, so college level, have doubled, yet the amount of knowledge being portrayed hasn't gotten any better. And so it comes to this point where, you're forcing kids to be $130,000 in debt, so you can make more money. And is that really a great way to educate people?
It's hard. It's when you have a model where you have like social organizations that include money. They're just like there for some purpose. Like, why are people at school? You think of all these people working towards a goal. All these people are following the rules of whatever like organization they're in, and they're just doing something. Like, what are their goals? And they're all different, and they're all going to lean some certain direction. And what ends up happening is the sum of all those directions ends up being what the school becomes and like what the thing becomes. and like that can businesses can change. They have a culture, they have a way of being, and like are public universities in the U.S. like the way we'd want them now? And do we think that incentivizing, like money is how you incentivize people? Like that's at least what we consider to be the primary incentivizer in how our economic systems work. So is the money in schools being given to them in a way that makes them better? Because that's like the number one way you can make sure if an organization of people collaborating for money is on track. Is the money rewarding them for the right thing, for doing the right kind of work, for making the right kind of things better? And I don't think so. Kind of like we have these outdated organizations of people that need to change. Like we have companies that just produce oil. Like they're a group of people doing this thing. We give them money, and we're still leaning one direction, and our money's going to start to go more towards renewable resources and hopefully correct them. But that's the only way we can correct them. You cannot correct them any other way. You have to redirect how they get money and how the money works. And so
and there's so many ways too that people could put that money into better use. I mean, just an idea right now that I thought of as you're listening to you explain, why isn't there the classroom setting hasn't changed, but why isn't there the ability to separate classes based on how you learn? If I'm a hands-on learner, why can't I be in a class with a bunch of other hands-on learners so we can all learn the best way for us? Why isn't that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely ways you can reinvest that money and better help the people you are trying to bring and better the world. Because my opinion on the world at this point, it's no longer U.S., great country. It's no longer just the U.S. anymore, though. It should be about progressing society and progressing people as a whole. We have outgrown the mindset of let's continue to grow ourselves, and I think it's time to start growing the mindset of let's continue to grow each other as a whole, because we should be further than what we are right now, in my opinion. And I mean, you look at tons of stuff, and anytime you can get a large amount of people to come together and be like, yeah, let's fucking expand the knowledge for everybody, it always works out better than what we're doing now. And what we're doing now is greedy. It's just greedy. At the bare minimum, it is just greedy.
This is kind of a hard thing to realize, and accept, but I agree with you, and I think that's true, and there's a lot of things we have to change.
Now, you talked about incentivization. You touched on it a little bit. Granted, it was towards schooling system, but I want to ask you something about corporate world in itself. So there's this huge thing about getting jobs, good paying jobs in corporations, and you're incentivized. But do you think people are incentivized correctly? And why I ask that is because according to the Economic Institute, I read, and I know there was a large difference. I may not remember the number exactly, but you can go fact check me if you want, but it was around 156 or 166% increase in productivity rate amongst employees in the corporate world, but only 116% increase in pay. So people are working longer and harder and getting paid not the same for how much more they're working, which is tough. And I even think it contributes to the fact that the top 1% of the world in this country make 50% of the wealth here.
I have to say, as far as my understanding of how all of that stuff works, that's pretty accurate and a little bit frustrating. And I feel like most people who aren't, which is people who are not this, but most people who are not part of that group, are going to feel disenfranchised because they're just going to know these things. Everyone is hearing about these things in the media. Like, everyone knows the topic of, like, the 1% or the top 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
Like, you see people complaining about billionaires, whether or not they, like, know them or actually have problems with what they do with their money, besides the point. People just don't like the fact that they don't have money and their work is not going to get them more money relative to how much more they work. And that's a very frustrating cycle to be in. Personally, I consider myself to be also in that place. Like, I know that where I'm at, being in the top 1% of 1% of people my age, you wouldn't think that would be true. I still think that's true. And I still feel that pressure. And I still feel like putting in more work won't necessarily earn me the proportional amount of money that's supposed to come with it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I totally get it. And it really doesn't matter until you're at that very top. There's always someone who, and I've said it before, I said it when I talked to my father, anyone that's underneath someone is getting milked more than they're getting fed, if that makes sense. And a very weird farm analogy there. I didn't even live on a farm, but it makes sense, right? They're going to pull more out of you than they're going to put into you. And you're going to give them more so they can get more. And it's kind of like I'm going to get, like Marshawn Lynch says, I'm going to get mine before I get got. And like, that's a very real thing, right? That's the way it works. And I think it's a shitty mentality people have. You know, why not help other people? Why not like just be like, I always thought I don't know, you ever think about winning the Mega Millions?
When I was a kid, I used to think about that.
Yeah. What's one thing you wish you could do more of in your life right now? What do you want to do? What do you wish you had more time for?
Dating.
Dating.
I wish I had more time to date girls.
Your girlfriend, man?
No, I don't mean like in the girlfriend sense. I just want to go on dates.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to be committed or know each other very well. I'd be fine with just a series of first dates and having time to just go on a bunch of first dates. I feel like right now, given how busy my schedule is and how busy usually the schedule is of the girl that I'm like courting, it's like maybe I get the chance at 2 a weekend or 2 a week tops because of weekends, and weekdays are just too hard because of work. And then like even on that means I have to have no weekend plans. Typically, I can't go on like some longer like outdoor excursion or go like camping and stuff, which is typically how I like rejuvenate myself. I literally wish I had 2 days where I could just date girls. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's kind of line with the girls for the 2 days too. Women are tough, man. Women in general are they're so interesting and tough. It's tough, you know. I think a lot of women know, but women hold the power in a sense of like, and it has to do probably something with, you know, going way back to like the way men are and the way women are, but women hold the power and the fact that men are willing to do a lot of things to spend time with women, but women could give two shits about spending time with men. You have to really catch their eye, you know?
I think I feel like it always has to do with, you know, how people are prioritizing their time and how they want to spend it. I think there actually might be a slight disconnect between men and women on that. Like all the guys I know, like how they want to spend their weekends or when they want to hang out with me, it's like, let's go do this intense physical activity or drink really hard and just be loud and obnoxious and just do that. And like girls just don't like vibe with that very much. And so I think the biggest problem, especially coming out of college, is just like transitioning over. Is like learning how to like live a more quiet and like adult lifestyle that is appealing to the other gender.
Yeah, and I think a lot of girls look at men as stupid for what we like to do for fun. And like you think about it, kind of what we do is stupid for like what we like to do for fun. But I like doing stupid. So I would say I'm smarter than the average individual.
Damn.
Ooh, I know, that's a fucking bold statement. I'm gonna have people come at me for that. But I'm not dumb. I'll put it that way. Let's rephrase it. I'm not dumb. I have common sense and I'm well educated. And I find it more important to me to not act like that and to not constantly be challenging that because it's stressful, man. It's stressful being smart and trying to be smart all the time.
That's true. I feel like that's definitely I've definitely felt that, especially at work. Like you get to experience that, and you're just spending your whole day trying to behave like extremely professionally and just be always like as accurate and speak as accurate as possible. I feel that like on my team especially a lot, and it's exhausting. I come home and I just want to be with like people and be myself and be like more normal and like less on that stuff. And it just feels nice to unwind. I feel like it's just how we're hardwired, you know. We're focusing. We're like really drilling in. Maybe that's not as much the case for some of the girls that I've dated, at least. That they're just themselves all the time, and like I don't know, it's a complicated topic.
Yeah, it is a complicated topic. Do you ever think because you're a very smart individual, you think people expect you to be smart all the time?
I feel like the people who expect me to be smart don't know me yet, especially outside of work. and then like I like that because the people who do know me are pleasantly surprised when I turn on smart mode, like when I'm like actually becoming that thing, and they're just like, oh, I forgot you had that ability, and like it's just something. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to turn on, and like I use it all at work, but when I get to use it outside of work, it feels nice, and I feel like I actually don't have that much stress because I don't do it. Like I just don't have the time or energy to really like be extremely thorough and accurate and like a robot outside.
Who does?
Yeah.
And
Make a mistake or two.
Yeah, dude. And the shitty part is people expect you not to now. I'm like, this whole cancel culture that's been created.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
What's cancel culture?
Cancel culture. So this whole like, you can't make a mistake, and you can't say anything bad, or you can't say a view that people don't agree with anymore, or you're canceled. People automatically stop listening to you, stop looking at you, and stop thinking.
Like Boston Tea Party of
Yeah.
anything that shows up on social media.
Yeah, just benefit the person. Yeah, and it's tough, man. Like I think that's a huge problem. I get something should be canceled, in a sense. Racism, bad. We're all in agreement. Racism fucking sucks. But a lot of the political things, like we should pay for education, we should give tax breaks to businesses, shouldn't give tax breaks to businesses. A lot of that, you shouldn't be canceled because of those views. I think it's important to talk to people about that. And if they change those views, let them be honorable in changing those views. But people don't do that. People bring up, right now, election time, right? People bring up shit that Joe Biden did 40 years ago. 40 years ago. You're telling me you don't think someone can grow in 40 years' time to no longer believe in certain things? You know what I mean?
When's the last time anyone who's making that like having that opinion or making that statement? When's the last time that they like did not also have something that they've changed in their lifetime? And it's probably not, they're probably not even 40 years old in total, let alone like had that much time to change as a person. I know personally for myself, I've had some like completely transformative shifts in beliefs throughout my years of life as a human. You'd hope someone would have that. The odds of them being born, existing for 10 years, and having all their shit figured out just right, and like that not changing, like the odds of that happening are so small. So like in most people, you should see a change in belief, and you should see growth, and like you should believe it when you see it because you have that. Everyone has that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like expecting people not to change is like saying, so I had a view as a kid, like middle school. If you weren't an athlete, you were a loser. A lot of people have that view, right? You know what I don't think that now. You know what I would rather? I would like if I ever have a child, I would almost rather them not be an athlete and like destroy their body. I would almost rather them like play an instrument and like be interested in just what they want to be interested.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because I hung around so many different people and had so many different experiences that that view changed. But holding someone accountable for something they said or something they did 40 years ago is insanity. It's absolute. And even 10 years ago, and like I said, there's certain things I get it. If they said some racist shit, you're fucked up, man. You said racist shit, like that's fucked up. I'm person to person. But if you had an opinion about this policy, but now have the opposite, you should be able to have that opposite opinion. Now people not question you about it.
It's frustrating seeing how really nuanced and important political topics are married to their more emotional counterparts. Like what I'm saying, like with the left and the right, the less appealing like issues that people have on either side with the other party being also tied into the important issues that people are not talking about on economic policy, international like foreign relations policy. All these things that we don't really discuss are not like the inflammatory like high friction topics, and they're the most important.
Dude, yeah, and it's interesting because the people that get are so embedded in the ideas are, in my opinion, the people that have zero experiences. You know what I mean? The hardcore, you know, like Trump or Biden supporter, I don't think it's went out and lived life in general. I don't think you should support something like willing to die for that belief as far as political parties go. I don't think you should do that. I don't think you've lived enough if you are willing to die for a political party. Because you haven't experienced life. I don't think people get a big enough understanding and well-rounding of life, you know. And the biggest changes, I mean, I don't know about you, the biggest changes that I've made in my life were due to experiences going to like Dominican Republic and living in a third world country. It's like, okay, well, I come back here and don't really complain about problems here because there's kids there living in metal sheet shacks.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what am I complaining about? You know, I'm living on the resort with all you can drink, getting shit faced and going to dance floors at night. And like, that changes you. Have you done anything, like, what's a big thing you've done that you think you had a lot of change from?
My first one is going to be living with my friend in France for 2 weeks. When I first got my full-time offer, I took off some time, a few months into it, just to go live with my friend in France, and I got to see what a different country was like as an adult. Like, I'd been to Europe, but only as a kid and only on vacation, but I wanted to like live with someone who's living as an adult alone and just kind of see what's going on. And man, that was transforming. Like, seeing what life can be somewhere else from the perspective of an adult, it's huge. Like, there's a huge cultural difference between like Paris in the United States, or specifically San Francisco or Seattle, and like getting to see that like really changed me. And like, I guess it made me more aware of the things I'd like in life and what I could value, because I don't feel like they're valued here. I don't feel like the symphony is valued here. I don't feel like the opera is valued in San Francisco, but in Paris it was, and that's what Victor brought me to, and he showed me this entire life, and I got to see things and find things that I liked that made me feel like my life was going in the right direction. When even now, like grinding my ass off at work and doing some things, I have days where I don't feel like my life's going in the right direction, but I've been told by society and everyone here that that's what's right. But I go somewhere else, completely different, get shown something else, get told something else, and it like lets you see what's real. And I think that traveling is huge, and traveling in that way specifically, not trying to be as a tourist to see all the grand sights, but to live as someone in a different culture. Fucking do that. Anyone listening, fucking do that. It'll help you a lot.
I completely agree. I think everyone should, and you know, you did 2 weeks and that's great, but for at least I think should be or stay in a place for a month, and a month is enough time for you to meet some people that can show you some real shit, at least, and experience that. You know, I was in Germany for a month and went to different countries while I was there. I did it instead of having a grad party when I graduated high school. Wonders for changing the way I view the world. You know, people around the world have different standards for what they hold things. You know, certain things are more important than what we value here. And you come back here, and I think traveling, like you said, helps you question, why am I living with these values? I think it's important to question your values every now and then. Why do I hold this to a high standard? Why do I hold money to a high standard? I don't know. In our society now, it's taught that like that's what makes you successful. That's how success is measured, how much money you can make. I don't think that's true. You know, you go to put happiness, I think, should be the measure for success.
And even with that stops going up after a certain threshold. It's not even that high. Like, if you're above that threshold right now and you're not happy, like what are you doing wrong? Maybe you need to reprioritize, do some introspection.
Dude, there's a portion of me that thinks like prior to civilization, prior to building cities, we were probably happier. I think there was a portion of me that believes we were happier as hunters and gatherers. Only mindset was to just go and find food and then come back and cook that food. And like, the sad thing is you didn't know where your meal was coming from every day. But I think like, as far as how much stress you have in your life, there's a reason why mental illness has consistently increased over the past years. There's a reason for that, and that's the stress we put and the values we hold in society, in my opinion.
The question is like, what can we do to fix that?
Yeah, I mean,
and finding that out, and that's
yeah.
hard.
What do you think? What do you think we could do? I mean, what do you think? What would you do if I could give you a magic wand right now, fucking sales question and a half, right? They teach that any bullshit pay to go to this conference sales test. They're gonna say key question. Ask them if I could have a magic wand and make it all better right now. What would that be? So what would your magic wand be? What would you do?
Oh man, that is a question. I would really, really, really want to think through everything. I feel like I've thought about that question a lot, and I've come up with answers in different periods of my life, and they've all been different things, like which one's the most important. But I'm just going to pick the one that's the most recent to now, and that is like homelessness in San Francisco. That is like a serious issue.
It's a huge problem.
It's a huge issue. And like also like the zoning laws in San Francisco, and just like what's going on with San Francisco's housing market, and like just in general, like it's very interesting, and it feels like a quagmire. It feels like there have been mayors upon mayors over the past like decades that have all tried to combat it in some way, talk about how the previous one's policy was wrong, and then end up implementing the same thing, which is like when a lot of homeless people are living in one area, and enough people complain, go over there and ask them to move, and just keep shuffling them around. If I had my magic wand, that would be it. Like,
did you hear what San Diego does for homeless?
No, I'm interested though.
So San Diego now provides the homeless with $15 an hour, providing they help clean the city. So however long you pick up trash, you can go see someone, pick up trash, they'll pay you $15 an hour for it. That combats pollution in the city and homelessness.
Damn. I'm curious how they enforce like the rules, like to get the money back. Like, is there like a particular area you're assigned to clean, or can you clean anything you want?
Yeah, I don't know the.
I'll have to read up on it afterwards. That's super interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the exact notes of it,
but they're creating a service job that has like a higher pay per work, or is it not higher pay per work? I don't know. What's the minimum wage in San Diego? It's expensive to live there. I don't know if 15 can even make it.
It's not expensive in San Francisco, but it's 15. 15 is probably minimum wage. Probably minimum wage should do it. So around 15. You know, they're not like, oh, we're gonna pay them more. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing that. But it's at least minimum wage, right? It's at least something so they can get food. You know.
Yeah.
I would, if I was homeless, and I think that's another huge problem. I think there's a big misconception of what homeless is. A lot of people give up on homeless people and say they're crazy or they chose that. A lot of homeless people didn't choose that lifestyle, let me tell you. And the drug addiction, you know, if you're listening to this and look down on homeless for a drug addiction, yet you snort Adderall or do cocaine every weekend, shame on you. Honestly, shame on you, because that's no different than what they're doing. You're doing that to escape your stressful life. They don't have a fucking home, dude, and like all they want's a 24-ounce beer. Like, you know, and you're gonna give them shit for that. That's the way, like, life's tough, and like that's the relief they get. At one point in my life, I was considered homeless.
That's a topic. A topic.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect me to be homeless, would you? I mean, maybe I dress some holes in my shirts, so maybe you think so. But you know,
no, this is a legitimate topic. I also, in a period of my life, did not have a home. I was doing it to save money and living in my car as a homeless person. But I had a car, so it's like a shelter of some kind.
Yeah. And
a 24-hour gym membership. But in this membership, I used it to use the restroom and shower. I was just grinding away. Like, I was literally just working, period. And, like, go home, sleep in my car. I did this for 2 months, so really not that long. But, yeah, I noticed that what I had tried to hack out as a lifestyle was being done by a lot of people. And they weren't people that were necessarily working or doing, like, a tech job like I was, and it was a very, very population. But, yeah, it's like a group of homeless people that included me that were just trying to make money or just live and save money. Because it's just the housing's like almost unbearable here.
Yeah, and I think and it's more people do it and have done it than you think, and I think those are people that actually give a shit about the homeless population and finding them help. You know, I think I'm a huge believer in sometimes in this world, I think there's a misconception that in this world everyone's dealt the same hand, and what you do with it is what you do with it, and that's why you're being punished, and that's not true. I think people get dealt, in the sense of gambling, people get dealt bad hands, and sometimes you're just trying to make the best of a shitty hand, and like, if I can help you with that shitty hand, like, why am I not helping you? You know what I mean? And are some people going to take advantage of that help? Yeah, but you should be able to go to bed every night thinking, like, I did something. And I also think some homeless are actually super smart and they choose to be homeless. You ever ran into that?
I couldn't say I've met enough homeless people.
No. So I had a buddy who, he knows a guy that talked to a homeless person who was like, you should read this book, and this is why I live homeless. And he read the book, and the book's it's called Ishmael, for any of you that want to read it. It's a very powerful book, and kind of like how we hold these values in current society. It is really interesting. I mean, for example, I slept in my car up in Bodega Bay. Also woke up to a cop knocking on my window. First off, it's a misdemeanor in California to sleep in your car. It's $1,000 fine.
No,
bullshit.
what the fuck?
Bullshit, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you? Where were you sleeping?
Bodega, man, just right along the coast.
Oh man,
it's right on Highway 1.
Yeah, there we go.
And like, and why are you charging me $1,000? Like, this is where people come and like murder people.
Yeah. To anyone trying to figure out how to live this lifestyle, I recommend. What I did was a 24-hour fitness parking lot.
$30 a month.
And it was a Walmart parking lot, and it was the fusion of both. There were RV campers all around me. They'd have to give everyone a ticket. Find your Walmart parking lots. That's where people go when they have like
people
a
don't
trailer.
bother you in a parking lot. First time I ever had sex was in a Jonas Battery parking lot. It was crazy in that back seat. Windows all steamy. Oh wow, what to be 16 again?
Oh god.
You know who doesn't go up to vehicles in parking lot? Nobody. Nobody goes up to a vehicle in parking lot. No.
Yeah, no, especially with steamy. Like, you know what's going on.
Yeah, dude.
That was like the cars were like the only way to have sex in my community of like mostly Christian like people, like they're like non-denominational but extra strict. The only way. Cars. There's
cars and in the ass. Do it in the ass. Lord doesn't see it if you do it in the ass, apparently. That's a crazy concept, man. It's crazy that like people think that. Well, he can't enter me, but like my asshole's up. Okay, it's on limits. No one cares about that. Fuck.
You would think it would be dirtier. Like it's like a more kinky, darker thing to do. Like that's like one step further in like the weird sexual direction. Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't feel like that's a softer regression of penis and vagina sex, but like it's worse in a way. It's like darker, but it's whatever.
It's
weirder.
Sex in a car at 16 is I think the epitome of everyone's fucking high school experience if you get one. And like it's just hilarious, man. It's like everyone goes through it. It's shitty sex. It's never good sex. You've been hard as a rock for like 4 hours. You've been hard as a rock for 4 hours, and you're like, 2.7 seconds later, you're done with sex. You know what I mean? I'll tell you this. There was this one time I had sex with this girl, and high school came super fast, like lightning fast. Like I don't know if you know the Flash, like that fast. And I made up this excuse that my friend had texted me and said that he was drunk and I needed to go pick him up. To make it act like I didn't two-pump chump that shit. But I'm going to tell you right now, she'll know if she listens. I two-pump chump that shit.
That's crazy. I love that honesty. My situation was very, very similar. It was inside of the school. We were up at the third floor. There's this little stairwell that went like a little bit farther than like the auditorium to like this attic area, but like it was locked off. So it was just a dead end stairwell. Perfect. The only way people could find us is if they came upstairs, and it was after school. But two pump chump, called it like panicked, and was like, I think I hear someone coming down the hallway. Pretended like everything was just no, not good. Probably, I feel like the first time though that's
the way it is.
That's just how it is.
and it is just such a shitty experience. Like, not even the first time, but like going through that puberty session, like you're getting boners in the middle of math class, and you're just like, oh,
why did I wear basketball shorts today?
Yeah. Why aren't you wearing basketball? I want people to know this is what's up. This is what I'm wearing. That's what people are like, you got a pen in your pocket? No, but yeah, man, it's tough. You're like holding your books in front of you so no one sees your massive boner because your teacher wore like a low cut shirt that day or whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
She's getting boners over everything. I remember looking at my Spanish textbook and was like, she's kind of high. Like,
yeah. Those language learning textbooks, I think, were the sexiest textbooks that exist. They would always have, they'd always have like teenagers in another culture, like socializing, and like they'd be like kind of like normal looking. So you'd be like, oh yeah, she's cute. That's a cute girl. Math textbooks, worst, absolute worst.
Yeah. Ugh, fuck, dude. Oh man. Spanish one?
Yeah, all I do is make math textbooks like Spanish textbooks. Why don't you throw a few pictures in there about them doing math?
You know, there's always a moment where people figure out what they like, whether it's men or women, I think. And kudos to you. Love who you want to love in this world, because the world's a shitty place. So, like, you know, if people care, fuck them. Don't let them take away from your day. Enjoy it, you know. But when I figured out, me personally, when I figured out I loved women was 4th grade. Let me tell you. Senorita Thomas. And Senorita should give it away. That's Ms. or Miss. So she's not married. She's a student teacher.
Ooh.
Fresh out of college.
Deadly.
Wow. Let me tell you, at this time, 4th grade, farting in a group of kids is hilarious. You know what I never did in front of Senorita Thomas? Fart. In a group of kids. I fell in love. I gave her flowers, I think. Like,
wow.
I tried hard, you know. I thought that was my sex with the teacher moment. It wasn't. It was not. And it just, yeah, man. And like, that's what I knew. I knew I was like, yeah, I'm into that. I like that. And then it's a shitty time. I'm going to tell you right now, as a guy, it's a shitty time, because that's when life goes from cooties to like, I think I'd have sex with her. And that's when you start thinking it. And that's it. And like, that becomes the rest of your life, man. I think that rules a lot of men's lives. I think I'd have sex with her. I ain't lying. I walk down the street. I have a girlfriend. I think I'd have sex with her. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, man. It's when did you figure it out? When did you
realize that I was into girls?
Yeah. Who was your girl? Who was it? It's always one. There's always one special one. And you just Senorita Thomas shouts out if you're still teaching.
Oh man, I don't know if I could say her name publicly.
Alias.
Everyone would know. I was thinking Alias. It was a girl, and it was in my 3rd grade class. I had a mad crush on her. I was just like, man, she's so sporty and like happy and thoughtful. Just fucking love this girl. Yeah, that's when I felt it.
When's the first time you got shot down? Because that's a tough one too. That's
hard.
Oh,
I never made it known that I had these feelings. So she never knew. She still doesn't know to this day.
Damn.
But
what was your harshest shut down?
Yeah, we're still Facebook friends. So
for sure.
You know,
hey,
one of you. It's one of you. It's one of you.
It's one of the 5.
Yeah.
It's like you got 5 friends, 4 of them are dudes, and there's one girl. It's like, what are you? Oh man. What was your worst breakup? What was your worst experience?
Oh, worst breakup.
We're gonna go with Stacy. That's her name. From here on out, Stacy. So we'll have to edit the rest of this out. Stacy. Okay.
So the thing about Stacy.
Her mom's got it going on.
Her mom did not have it going on. And that was the primary issue, actually. I was trying to get a multi-generational threesome, but it never worked out.
Yeah.
No,
It's every man's goal.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. There is a story I'll tell you. There's this girl, we'll call her Anna. And she was the first girl that I had loved, and I had met her on a missions trip with my church, and I was going through a time of doubt in my religion, which I'm still going through to today. I'm not a believer anymore. That's what I'm saying. But at the time, I was feeling going through some doubt, but I was also willing to like go and do things to help people because I thought that's what I wanted to do, was be helpful. And completely fell in love with this girl. And the problem was, she on this trip, she was all about me. She was absolutely all about me. We like met each other there. It's like a slice of life outside of your own life, like where anything can happen and nothing really impacts your normal life anymore, socially at least. Like these are all new kids, new friends, and I was like 15, and things are going great, like with her, and at least I think so until the end of the trip. We get back, things are going great still, and then I realized that like she actually like has a boyfriend or whatever. We're just like both starting high school, and like it's like she can't continue to do this anymore, and I was just like, damn. You were just a 1 week, 2 week thing. Like that's heartbreaking to find out. And it was the first girl I loved. So yeah, I like cried over a girl for the first time because I was like, this was gonna be my first girlfriend. I was like, I thought that, but she just didn't mention it. That
Damn.
The whole time.
Yeah, man, and I'm sure you're not alone. It's a tough thing. I went through majority of my life dating nobody. I had no girl. I had like one girlfriend in high school for 3 months. High school girlfriend, whatever. Great girl. But I went through almost, no girlfriend, kept going. I was actually in a shitty way. Not if I knew. I want to put this out there. Not if I knew, but I didn't care. Like anyone was gay. Like I didn't care boyfriend or not. Like I was in it to win it, and I had been the guy in relationships before, and it's a shitty feeling. But there was a dark moment in my life where I just went through that and was like, I don't give a fuck about anybody. It's tough, man. It's tough when you go through that and you're like, why am I like that? It takes a while for you to question it because you think life is great, man. People love you. I'm like there was a time period where I just felt like a little party favor. People would bring me to the party and just wind me up, like a little wind up toy, and let me go and make the party fun. And like that's how you're like okay with it, but it's kind of a shitty way to go through life. But I remember I got my worst breakup was I met this girl who I'm currently dating. Oh man, if she listens to this, I'm gonna be in trouble for telling the story, but that's okay. Whatever, she'll get over it. So we dated for the first time, and first off, it was a weird relationship because she wouldn't even let me. We were together for almost 4 or 5 months. Through a summer, and she was a senior and I was a junior in college, and so she wanted to live out her senior year, and I was like, yo, like we're together, and like in her mind, she would never give me the title of being together. She would never call me her boyfriend at the time, and I just kept going, like we're together, right? And everyone that like was close to us knew. She just didn't call me that, and she had a lot of things she had to work on as a person, and she ended it. And at the time, you don't realize that, but that was a terrible time to go through a breakup. And here's why: because I'm just getting ready to turn 21. Never experienced a breakup before. The first one's always the toughest, right? It's tough. First true love you have is always the toughest, and you go through it. And like, what do you have? What are your vices currently? Drinking. Right, that's my vice. That's my vice on the weekends to get away from school. That's what I know, right? And I slowly watched myself. It took me, for about a month. It'd be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, Thursdays, like drink. And I had a job. I worked at Arvan, so I made okay money for a college kid to buy alcohol all the time. And I just kept drinking. And I would sit and listen to jazz music. Drink jazz.
Yeah.
First, I love jazz music. And it took a friend. Sometimes as a friend, you got to realize that you can't be nice to your friend anymore. And a friend came to me and was just like, yo, I'm fucking sick of seeing you sitting here listening to jazz music, drunk as fuck in the middle of the week. You need to get your shit together. And like,
that had to be a wake up call.
yeah, and it is, man, it is. And like, you realize that like relationship isn't everything. And sometimes like things are meant to be now. As I said before, I'm dating her again. She worked on a lot of things. Let me say, I Rico Suave the fuck out of it the second time. It's okay. Like, I played it cool. Everything's good. Like, she loves me. You can ask her. She loves me. This is what she tells me. And everything's great now. And but yeah, man, it was tough. I for 2-3 months just almost drank myself to sleep half of the nights of the week just because.
How'd you get out of that?
I think it goes back to being passionate about something. And I think what really brought me out of it was looking at myself and going, hey, I'm great. And like, I tell myself that every day. So I'm great and I want to be great. And like, I am great. I will be successful. I want to be great. Like, those are all great things to tell yourself. And you got to look in your mirror and be like, am I really going to let someone else destroy my life? That's a huge thing you got to think about, right? Am I going to let someone else destroy my life? And the answer is no, man. Because at the end of the day, love who you want to love. And I'm not saying people aren't important. I think my girlfriend's very important to me. My parents are very important to me. But there's only one person that is there the moment you give your mother a look from being born to the moment you close your eyes when you die. And that's you. And so you got to realize that at the end of the day, like, it's about you. It is. And you can't, kind of like the airplane mentality, right? And what I mean by that is oxygen mask drops, you put yours on first and then help others. And some people think it's a shitty way, but you can help others better if you put yours on first. And you got to make sure you're okay and make sure you're good before you can help other people and get involved in other people's lives.
Damn. So do you feel like you know what it is now that is required to feel like you have your mask on, like you got your life going good? Like, what are those things?
Yes and no. And I think it's an interesting essence now because I'm struggling a lot with life now. I think what requires me to know life is good is to know that every day when I've woken up, I've spent it in a way that is enjoyable or is going to contribute to my enjoyment in life. So what I mean by that is there's some days I don't like. Everyone's gonna have days they don't like. Fuck, most of my work week I don't like, right? Because I wake up, I work out, I go to work from 8 to 5 at a desk, I work out again, and then work on Manly's Modern. And that's my day nowadays. And I'm gonna be honest, those days aren't great. Like, it's not the most fun I've had in my life. But I know it's gonna get me to a point that I love in my life. And I gotta know that I'm having, what I'm doing is going to contribute back to me at some point in time. And if what you're doing isn't going to come back to you in life in some beneficial way, don't fucking do it. I'm even helping people, and I don't mean you have to help people for the satisfaction, for the comeback, but if you genuinely help someone and they recognize that you're genuinely helping them for you, more times than not, they're gonna come to you and be like, hey, you changed my life. Like, that's a great feeling too, man. And like, but you gotta do stuff for you, and like that's when you realize it is when it's for you. And I've been struggling a lot with I have an ego. I'm the greatest tattooed on my neck, which Muhammad Ali quote, because I want.
You're a boxer.
Yeah, and I want to wake up every day knowing I'm great and I'm better and I'm the bee's knees. And one thing I'm struggling with now is right now I don't feel like that. I have a job that I'm not the best at due to COVID.
Oh yeah.
I have a website. Great. It's not the most visited website in the world, right? Not yet. And with COVID, no gym. My fitness goals aren't where they used to be. So a lot of the things I focus, the fitness goals, man. A lot of the things I focus on in life are suffering right now. and with the way I have to really work on my ego. That's the next thing I'm going to work on as a person is I rely too much on my ego for happiness, too much on my confidence and ego to be like, I'm the fucking shit, and so I deserve to be happy, and like that's crumbling right now, so I don't feel happy. So which means I need to fix that. But you know, that's a huge thing too. Recognize what you need to fix and work towards it. And so I'm working towards now. Fitness, you know, fitness getting to you?
Yeah. We have this gym here, and you're able to reserve it for limited like participant use, so that no COVID is transmitted.
Yeah.
And it's pretty big, so it can fit like I think like 10 people or something.
Yeah.
If everyone has like their own section of the gym, and someone or some group of people, the second that the reservation system came out, just built bots to like pull it from different IP addresses or something to get unique requests, and just booked everything, and like people abused it, and so like it all got fucked, all the scheduling got fucked, and now I'm here, and it's been a few months since this has been happening, and finally they're having a survey to address this and find a new way to book these things and use the room. And like, man, that means this whole time there's been a gym. There's even been like and it's been able to be booked. Like they've tried to build some organizational system to make this shared among people, but like it wasn't executed properly because businesses don't know how to handle what's going on right now. That no one's like had to deal with a pandemic before on this level from our generation, and like had to try and solve this in this technology, and like so. Even like simple tasks of getting a way for people to be able to share this gym is not working. That gym is empty all the time, and the only way you can get there is if you go in and like you say, hey, someone abused all the reservations, can I just like go in? And they're like, well, we have to wait until afterwards because we just let people reserve this unlimited, which is really dumb, but they're going to change it soon. Hopefully it'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
That one's really getting to me. My fucking fitness. All I can do is run, and I'm trying to bulk. I don't just want to run. I want to bulk. I want to get big. And that's like getting in the way of my fucking goals.
Oh, you big.
Yeah. I want to lift some fucking weights.
Yeah.
And I used to live in a house that was big enough to, but I didn't own the weights. I got scammed on Facebook too. I bought some variable weight dumbbells so I could at least do like something in my house. And yeah, it ended up being a fake company that totally just popped up to create an ad and scam me, and that sucked. So this has been terrible. I want fitness to be resolved. I want someone to solve these things. So fuck COVID.
Yeah, it's tough. My place just opened up, but they did it first come first serve basis. So it's only allowed 3 people max, right? It's a smaller gym, but first come first serve, no sign up. There's 3 people in there.
That's better even.
It's better than the reserve because people do that, and then like it's like, oh, people got this reserve, then no one can be using it. It's bullshit. Like for me, if I go early enough or late enough, no one's gonna fucking be in there. And like they're like, wear a mask, but if no one else is in the gym, I'm not wearing a mask. Come on, like you know what I mean? It doesn't transmit on surfaces well or at all, and so like me wearing a mask while no one else is in there, it does nothing, right? It's not like I'm gonna not wear this mask and then people are all gonna get infected. Like it's not how it works. You should look into. So I love fighting, boxing, great fucking exercise, man. Gets you stronger. You'll feel it in your traps and you'll feel it in your lats a lot. I mean, you want to man cave the shit out of your place? Throw a fucking punching bag in the corner. They're not that expensive. You can get $200 for the whole stand and bag, and you can just fucking go at it whenever you want.
There's this one that I saw. There's like a speed bag that mounts in your doorway. Some guy in the complex was selling it for like I don't know $100. I'm trying to keep this place like a certain vibe. I feel like a boxing bag doesn't contribute to like the communal use. But I'm trying to.
Only if you're drunk.
Yeah, what?
I said only if you're drunk.
Yeah, everybody's drunk. Yeah, that'd be a blast. No, yeah, I actually I have a lot of work to do in this place. I got
that looks great.
Got these holes going on right now. That was today.
They're super cool.
Yeah. There's supposed to be a TV there, but right now it's just holes. Enjoy. Yeah, but boxing bag or something like that. I don't really know how to use a small space well yet. That's a skill you don't know until you move into a small apartment.
And you basically just gotta fuck around with it.
Yeah, you gotta keep tweaking.
Yeah.
And you have to like sell stuff that you own.
Yeah.
You're like, this is not. I'm not gonna use this for the next 3 years. I have to get rid of it now. I used to be in houses and like would rent houses and sublease like rooms and stuff. So I'd always have so much room, I could have endless amounts of shit. And that's like, it's a hard transition, but it's important. I feel like I'm learning from it, like what
you got the plants
value.
though, man. Plants are important. Plants
Yeah.
are important. One thing you don't know, so as a fashion major, they teach you about design and they teach you a little bit about interior. One of the huge portions of plants and interior is curvature. So straight lines don't exist in nature. And so a lot of times what will happen with a lot of men's places is you're throwing posters and seats and TVs and all these things that have very hard edges and curve. And the mind craves a curved line. So having a plant provides your mind with that while still providing an aesthetic. So got the fucking plants covered. Minimalist, so yeah, man, you can see, yeah, for sure, I can help you out. I can get you going. I got ideas.
Yeah.
So we've been talking. It's been great. One thing I always end the podcast with. What's the craziest thing you ever did?
The craziest thing.
Yup.
Okay, it would have to be there's this abandoned flour mill in Seattle, and it's 27 stories, and you can illegally, I'll have you sneak onto this property and scale this building from the inside, and it's from the late 70s, and it's completely abandoned. It's dust everywhere. There's like just shit all over the floor. It's a complete mess. Like, it looks like an apocalypse happened, and you're urban exploring. That was hands down one of the craziest things I've ever done. Complete blast. Like, just climbing up this entire building that probably could collapse, and then just seeing everything that's going on in there. And there have been remnants of people there before. Like, people had set up stuff, and there's one room that had a TV with just static going, and it was literally using active power. Like, they found a line of active power and then plugged in this fucking TV. It was insane. Completely crazy. Either that or skydiving. But
I heard skydiving's great.
Yeah, those are the two things.
Well, you heard it here first, kids. If it's cool but illegal, still give it a shot.
No, actually, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't do anything dumb. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for joining me on the Man Meets Farm podcast. You're number 2, man.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you. It's a good time.
It's a great fucking